It's the Saval Beg Levmoss Stakes. Last year we saw world's best stayer Kyprios come through this race en route to the Ascot Gold Cup. This year, Emily Dickinson is a $1.40 favourite.
And they're off over a mile 6. Slow to get going, Moon Daisy, the bottom filly. This is the Saval Beg Levmoss Stakes. It's a Group 3. And it's Icy Kell on the outside of Emily Dickinson, being followed by Point King and Cordiga Joe. As they settle themselves, they're tracked by Okita Sushi, a couple of lengths to Dawn Rising. Alongside Dawn Rising is Yashin and then Stratum. Moon Daisy is the back marker with less than a mile and a half to go. Not much between Icy Kell and Emily Dickinson in the dark blue colours, being followed by Point King, Cordiga Joe, Okita Sushi next. On the inside is Dawn Rising as they turn just outside the final 10 furlongs. Emily Dickinson and Ryan Moore just lead from Icy Kell, Ben Cohen, 2 lengths to Cordiga Joe, Colin Keane, Justin third, from Point King and Dylan Brown, McMonigal. A couple of lengths to Dawn Rising, Okita Sushi and Yashin, and then Moon Daisy, who just relegates Stratum to be the back marker with 9 furlongs to go. Little or no changes from first to last. It's Emily Dickinson, just in front of Icy Kell, break of 2 lengths to Cordiga Joe, who's disputing third place with Point King, the white cap. Then Yashin, Okita Sushi, Dawn Rising, Stratum, and Moon Daisy, the final couple, as they reach their final mile in the Saval Beg Levmoss Stakes. Emily Dickinson looks smart in the vintage crop on return, leads by 3 parts of a length to Icy Kell, a length back to in third place Cordiga Joe. As they reach the 7th, the halfway stage, Point King is 4th, and then Dawn Rising, Yashin, Okita Sushi, Moon Daisy, and lastly Stratum. Entering their final 3/4 of a mile, continuing towards the end of the back straight, Emily Dickinson and Icy Kell continuing 1 and 2, followed by Cordiga Joe and then Point King. These are tracked towards the end of the back straight by Okita Sushi and then Yashin, Dawn Rising, Moon Daisy and Stratum. They tighten up with 5 furlongs to go. Emily Dickinson with a slender advantage over Icy Kell, a length and a half back to Cordiga Joe, and narrow third from Point King, 2 lengths to Dawn Rising, whose upsides both Yashin and Okita Sushi, and then Moon Daisy and Stratum. Racing towards the final 3.5 furlongs, and it's Emily Dickinson. Alongside is Icy Kell, precious little between them, followed past the 3 by Point King and Cordiga Joe, and then Okita Sushi, Dawn Rising, Yashin pushed along on the outside, then Moon Daisy and Stratum. Turning their heads for home with just over 2 furlongs to go. Icy Kell, one off the rail from Emily Dickinson, who's on the rail. In between them, beginning a run, is Cordiga Joe and then Point King and Dawn Rising. Yashin is next with Okita Sushi in the middle of the track, both Moon Daisy and Stratum. Emily Dickinson over on the far side with plenty on her plate. And it's Point King, the white cap in the centre, who's coming to the front. Here's Yashin down the outside. Point King and Yashin go to the judge. It's close. Then Dawn Rising, followed in then by Moon Daisy, Okita Sushi, and Emily Dickinson faded.
Interesting. Emily Dickinson, very disappointing. As well as being favourite for today's race, she was the Ascot Gold Cup favourite. Not anymore. Point King is amongst the noms for the Ascot Gold Cup roughly 4 weeks from now, but so are Coltrane and Eldar Eldarov in a wide open Ascot Gold Cup. If only Stradivarius had stayed around for another year. As for the winner, Yashin, he's not nommed for the Ascot Gold Cup, but it sounds like the ownership is very interested in the Melbourne Cup. Connections say the plan is to head to the Curragh Cup in July, and you can find more information on that horse at irishracing.com. A link to that info can be found in the video description. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel on BitChute and Rumble. You'll find yesterday's Yorkshire Cup there, but not on YouTube. Check the odds, pick a winner.
If you find personal best incredibly informative, just like me, be sure to like and share and subscribe.
Things will commence again if you try to take our firearms.